Okay, so let's talk a little about worth and deservingness, because human beings are so freaked out about their worth typically. People are always wanting to know what they're worth, how they're valued, what their value is, how much they have of it. They're always wanting to measure it. And worth and deserving are so tied into money. They're so connected. In this country, it's even a colloquialism in order to ask what someone's financial status is, someone will often ask, how much are they worth? That's as though they are synonymous. They're that tied in together. When I was a student in college, I was directing a play. It was actually the only play I ever directed, a one-act play called Zoo Story. And in it, one of the characters starts asking the other two guys, one starts asking the other questions. So, what do you do for a living? Are you married? How old are you? What do you do for a living? How much do you make, et cetera, and so forth. And that's how I had the one person asking it. Yeah, well, are you married? What do you do? How much do you make? And the teacher of the class took me aside, and he said, you're having him ask that question like it's a normal question. And I said, yeah. How much do you make? He said, I would rather have someone ask me why my marriage broke up than ask me how much I make. That was my first clue about, this is about something much bigger than money. Now, human beings also want the universe to be fair. They want life to be fair. And so, we kind of take our estimation of our worth and deservingness and assume that life is fair. So, if we're not worth very much, why should life offer us very much? That wouldn't be fair. Okay? Now, there's two problems with this. Problem number one, human beings have pretty much decided on their intrinsic worth by the age of 3. In fact, sometimes at 3, it's really old news. It's like, that was so 30 months ago. Now, how do you evaluate the intrinsic worth of a 3-year-old? Let's imagine the world's largest police lineup of all the 3-year-olds in the world. It'd be the largest, but also the shortest, police lineup. If we were to look at all those, how do we pick out the ones who have intrinsic worth and the ones who don't? How do we go? Okay, fine, loser, fine. I mean, how do you evaluate the worth of an adult, much less a 3-year-old or an infant? But these are the ages at which we make those decisions about ourselves. And then having made those decisions become the foundation for our identity henceforth. So that's kind of problem number one. Problem number two, we don't live in a universe that is rewarding or punishing. We like to think we do. We like to think it's fair. If we do good things will happen to us. If we do bad things will happen to us. Because if it's like that, that's fair, it's predictable, and ultimately it feels controllable. If I want good things to happen, I do good things will happen. Okay? Now, every single one of us knows of somebody that we think of as a good person who've had bad things happen. Every single one of us knows of somebody who we think of as a bad person who's had good things happen to them. We do not live in a rewarding, punishing universe. We live in a reflecting universe. It mirrors back to us whatever we project onto it. So if we project on, I'm not sure how much I'm worth, what will get reflected back to us is we're not sure how much you're worth. I'm not sure I deserve this. We're not sure you deserve this. Now, think, if you will, about the average amoeba. Okay? Out there doing whatever it is amoebas do. Amoeba sees a food speck. I say see. Senses a food speck. Does the amoeba go into kind of self-contemplation and assessment? Do I deserve the food speck? Do the other amoebas have food specks? Have I done anything to deserve this food speck? No. senses food speck, and it's probably even smaller than a speck, given how small amoebas are. We'll call it a specklet, speckini. Senses the speckini, moves towards it. There is no sort of, it's okay, is this going to bother anybody? The average kumquat, seed falls, sends down its little roots, digs in. Does it ask itself, do I have a right to be here? Is this okay? How are the other kumquats doing? Am I taking up somebody else's space? No, it digs its little roots in. It reaches for the sun. It reaches towards what it wants. You have at least as much right to be here as the average amoeba or kumquat. You have at least as much right to reach for what you want as the average amoeba or kumquat. But most of us are living with very old, outdated senses of our worth. Like the Grinch, most of us have a belief set that's 2 sizes too small, at least. So, what we're going to do next is a little exercise to help you kind of expand your experience of your own self and your own worth, rather than playing out something that you've been living with kind of haphazardly from 3 or younger. Does that sound okay?